Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. Martha Aguilera, Coca-Cola Cakes. You've been on my show a couple days before you had a grand opening in 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
long
you've hit it out of the
time.
park. I mean, you became a great business in this city. Not just great at making amazing cupcakes and empanadas and all the good stuff you make, but a great business person. You've given a lot back. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
So you were on Newhall Ranch for a long time?
I was on Newhall Ranch for 4 years.
And now you just moved over?
We moved to Newhall about 2 years ago, and then we just opened a second location in Valencia on Town Center.
Love it, love it. Now, the one thing about Martha is she's got these cupcakes, and they all have a different theme, right?
Yeah.
I Love Lucy theme. Tell me some more.
So I basically read the autobiographies of all of my favorite 50s people. Lucille Ball, Bob Hope, and all that good stuff. And then I found out what their favorite stuff was, and I made a cupcake for it. So we have about 80 flavors that rotate. And because I, try to pretend like I know a thing or two about business, I wanted to make sure I had more of a market share, so I didn't want to just do sweets, and that's why I did empanadas and cupcakes.
And I love it. Now, we have a corporate account with
Yes.
Coca-Cola. Tell us about the corporate program you have.
So the corporate packages are basically they're business packages for companies that do a lot of client appreciation or sponsor events, and we put your logo on cupcakes and on empanadas, and you basically prepay for a year's worth of stuff, and you get it at about 30 to 50% off depending on which package you choose.
And we love it. We'll send that to clients. We'll do it for our birthdays.
And I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys have been great. You guys 2 years now have been corporate clients, and
yeah. And then, you get a discount, which is always kind of nice every once in a while.
Yes.
I can call you with sometimes a couple hours notice.
Yeah, that's happened.
But if you want the logo, though, you've got to call a little more than a couple hours.
Yes.
But they put our logo on top of the cupcake or whatever it is.
Right. And what ends up happening is it's kind of unique. So people that you give it to end up taking a picture and saying thank you, and then you're all over their social media. So it's an advertising thing for you guys also. So it works out.
Recognized 40 under 40?
I was recognized 40 under 40. We did Entrepreneur of the Year, I think I got in 2015. I had to open an office on Lyons Avenue just so I can get the admin stuff done. So now we are 2 locations, an office, and we have about 11 wholesale accounts, and we're in 5 different farmers markets.
Ah, that's great.
So we're growing.
Wonderful.
Trying to get there.
Wonderful. So did you have the grand opening already?
We had the grand opening on Friday for Valencia Town Center. It was amazing. I usually overdo, but by 1:30, we opened at 11. By 1:30, I had to go get everything out of Newhall and bring it to Valencia. So it was, for once I underestimated. I guess nobody's perfect.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. So let's talk about community involvement.
Okay. So we have, there's a lot. So there's a lot of great charity organizations in Santa Clarita, and they all do a really great job. However, where there's sometimes a gap in things is when things seem really overwhelming.
Finding
to the point
gap.
where, so Bridging the Gap is the organization I'm starting. I'm actually launching it on June 6th at 5:30. It's called Do for One, and the mission statement for Do for One is to do for one person or one organization what you wished you could do for everyone. And that way it doesn't seem as overwhelming as, drug abuse or, childhood trafficking. It's really empowering people to understand that if they go to one walk or they donate one day or they volunteer in one area for just one time, it really does create some kind of ripple effect, and suddenly the problem doesn't seem as overwhelming. So Do for One's first project is going to be to tackle the drug overdose and drug abuse problem that we've had in Santa Clarita for the past, 15 years and
probably longer than that. It just hasn't been talked about.
It hasn't been talked about, and when we do talk about it, we talk about it for a couple days, and then it kind of just dies down because we don't want to talk about it,
Right.
and that doesn't happen here, and that doesn't happen to our kids, and I pay attention, and I'm just telling you right now, I've seen parents that were the best parents in the world, have kids that ended up, using drugs, and kids that had a hard life that ended up using drugs. It really doesn't discriminate. So my plan is to create a program that triggers or targets kids between, 5th grade and 9th grade, more of a prevention thing than a reactive thing. So not more rehab and more counseling, but more of like a preventative measure. So we'll see.
I think that's great because I was talking to the old sheriff, and he was mentioning that it starts 5th, 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah, absolutely. An older brother, an older sibling, a parent.
Maybe a little bit of alcohol here and there, and maybe a little smoking marijuana, and then it builds up to other things. And that's really unfortunate because we really need to give the kids a strong basis and influence to avoid that?
Well, what really kills me right now is that, especially, and I'm noticing this in Santa Clarita. Sorry, I love Santa Clarita, but we have problems.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm noticing is that we don't want to talk about those things. We don't want to bring it to their attention. And I'm just like, if I'm allowed to tell a fifth grader, don't cross the street, you're going to get hit by a car, and that car can kill you.
Yep.
I'm allowed to scare them, but I'm not allowed to say, hey, by the way, these are these drugs that are going to get introduced to you at some point. And then I also have to be really careful and work with teachers and psychologists to make sure that what scares one kid doesn't entice another kid. Mm-hmm. And that's why I need help of experts.
I think it's all in it's in messaging. My expert, Alex Urbina, always talks empowering words,
Right.
How do you empower someone to make a great decision? And I think that's what it's all about.
Right, and getting the right people to do it. So, for example, I love our law enforcement. I'm super involved with them also. But, a 7th and 8th grader, you get a cop in front of them and you start talking, and you're like, you're the one that I want to rebel against. So maybe we should get other people in front of them. So the program is going to be new, obviously, but I'm really excited to start it. So we'll see what happens.
Love it. Before I move on, 30 seconds, biggest lessons you learned in business since you started in 2011?
So there's a couple, but the one I can honestly say is do what I'm good at and hire experts to do what they're good at. So I'm not spending like 30 hours doing bookkeeping, right?
Do your genius.
Yes,
and people can do it less. I can probably make cupcakes. I know my daughter can, but that's not my highest and best use. No.
Right.
I'm probably not that good at it though, but I could do it, right?
Yeah, you could totally do it. But like me with bookkeeping, I spent 30 hours one time right after I opened it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can pay someone $150 to do it.
Yeah,
so.
and they do it quicker.
Right, and I lost $1,000 by you spending 30 hours. So it just happens.
Great piece of advice. Coca-Cola Cakes. Again, your locations.
So we are on New Hall on Railroad and 13th Street, on the way to Masters College, and then we are on Town Center Drive.
Well, I was driving there on the way to Orange County or to Hermosa Beach. Mm-hmm. Was it Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, to a party, and I grabbed a bunch of cupcakes. It was the most amazing, easy, simple, boom.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
And then we have Town Center Drive, and then you can also get our empanadas at It's a Grinding Castake and Honu Coffee right here in New Hall. So
love it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Martha
Aguilera.
Aguilera, let me pronounce that right. Coca-Cola Cakes. I just like Coca-Cola, right?
There you go.
Yep, love that. Thanks for coming and thanks for being on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martha Aguilera from Coca-Cola Cakes. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Fred Arnold on KHTS.